welcome back to another video from Commissioner Plus. We have yours truly, Manager Easy, Manager FanDuel, Manager Chipotle, and myself, Manager Corona. Today, we are going to be talking about some buy low candidates for fantasy football coming into week 11. And it's one of the most important times of the year as playoffs are approaching. You want to get the guys, that can get on your roster at a very cheap price. All right. So starting off, Manager Easy, give us your buy low candidate for this week.
Yeah, of course. My guy, I will say that I do have a bit of a bias towards him. I do really like this player. It's going to be Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown has put up 4 single-digit performances in the last 5 weeks. So the managers that do have him are going to be a bit frustrated right now. Kyler is back in the mix. What I do know, without D-Hop last season, Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown had an electric connection. And Marquise Brown put up very similar numbers to what Christian Kirk is putting up this season. Very, very consistent, strong wide receiver 2 numbers. So I really do think that Marquise Brown has the opportunity to be a very dependable wide receiver 2 moving forward for managers in the playoffs. So I think it's definitely worth a shot going over and texting the manager with Hollywood Brown. They're a bit frustrated with the 3.8 performance this past week, and you might be able to buy low right there.
Yeah, solid choice, Hollywood Brown. Kyler's back, of course, like you said, so could see a good increase right there. Manager FanDuel, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, so I'm kind of going with 2 players. It's more of like a committee as a set as a whole, but I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing right now from the Pittsburgh Steelers backfield between either Najee Harris or Jalen Warren. Past 2 games, both have had at least 11 touches. Najee has had 16 the past 2 weeks and 4 receptions actually the past 2 weeks as well. And Jalen Warren even getting in on the action, having 11 touches and then 15 touches with 3 and 4 targets respectively, or receptions respectively. Both are having high usage in the red zone, and it seems to be that the Pittsburgh offense really flourishes when they get the run game going with the 2-headed monsters that they have. And obviously at this time, Najee Harris does still have a little bit of a higher name, so maybe if you're looking to still have more of an upside player but still expend as little capital as possible, I would lean a little more to the Jalen Warren side, a little less of a household name, more of like a running back 2, but has been seeing significant usage. So as a whole, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers backfield.
Yeah, solid take. Yeah, Jalen Warren's been looking really nice, and Najee's had maybe a resurrection, but we'll see. Manager Chipotle, you're the tight end guru here. You got a couple tight ends for us that you can get some buy low candidates for?
Yeah, definitely 2 tight ends that kind of speak out to me. I'll start with Trey McBride. This guy start off the season, didn't really have too much going for him, but recently he has put up some great numbers. The last 2 out of 3 weeks he's been a top 5 tight end. He finished at tight end 1 against the Baltimore defense, and there's not many mouths to feed on the Cardinals offense. And James Conner just is kind of working his way back in the run game. Hollywood Brown has been a little bit up and down, and then if you look at Trey McBride, he's been getting a decent amount of targets. He had 9 and then 14 other games, so he's had increased targets, and his production's been solid too. 8 receptions, 131 yards in his last game. He had double-digit receptions a couple games before. He's a guy that's been producing the last couple games. So definitely, and look at the tight end options. Not much to go around. So that's one guy, and then Jake Ferguson's also been another consistent guy that's been producing for the Cowboys. He had a touchdown. He had a touchdown in the last 3 weeks. He's been consistently producing over the course of the second half of the season. Definitely a guy to buy low.
Yeah, pretty good, solid choices right there at tight end. As for myself, I got a buy low candidate from the Carolina Panthers, who are a hot mess right now, but it's Adam Thielen. Here's the thing: from weeks 2 through 8, Thielen was the number two receiver in fantasy behind Tyreek Hill. And in these recent weeks, he's put up 10 or less points. and I guess that shine's beginning to fade. But you gotta remember that the past week, Jalen Johnson was on him, one of the best corners in the game, but Bryce Young still force-fed him 10 targets. And we want to see volume in fantasy football, and Adam Thielen is getting that volume. The Carolina Panthers are going to be losing a lot. That means they're going to be playing from behind and trying to pass more. And who's a rookie quarterback going to trust the most? His veteran wide receiver that he's been passing to all season. So in the fantasy playoffs also, you have Carolina facing the Falcons, the Packers, and the Jaguars. And none of these teams are teams to avoid in fantasy for opposing wide receivers. So it's going to be a tricky one, but if you do want that consistent production out of a wide receiver and want to get him at a cheap price, Adam Thielen, I think, is your guy. But I feel like that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening on. Please make sure to like, subscribe the video, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.